Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Neighbours. Today we have Erin
Cerenzia.
I told you, I'm going to have like a highlight tape of me in here, not being able to do last names, but that's who I am and how we do it. Erin does many things, but today specifically, we're here to talk about the Newmarket Historical Society, a volunteer-run registered charity dedicated to preserving the past for the future by connecting people to the history of Newmarket. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, full disclosure, before you even came in here, I don't know what the Newmarket Historical Society is, but after a brief chat about it, I am interested. I love Newmarket. I have deep history in Newmarket.
Yep.
So it seems right up my alley. So let's just hop into like maybe how you got involved in it.
For sure.
And what it is exactly. Like, how did you get involved in it? And then, what is it? Because you're the president now.
I am the president.
Yeah.
The chief.
Yes.
The boss.
Yes.
Boss lady. No. Well, I think really interestingly, Newmarket Historical Society was a hidden gem for me too. So like you, Myles, I had no idea this organization existed. I actually went to university and was doing my degrees in history. So when I was doing my master's, one of our amazing professors that I had was a real champion for local history, and a big research thesis that I did was around Newmarket's involvement in how we commemorated First World War. So remembering our veterans and honoring them right after the war and kind of in the decades that followed. And I had no idea where to start that research. I, like you, had deep history in Newmarket, like raised there, and sad to say, didn't know the museum existed, the Newmarket Historical Society existed. And so when I was going through that process and doing that master's project, I came across the society, discovered that this was an incredible treasure trove of archival records and artifacts that was 5 minutes from my house, and met some really awesome people. So the society is entirely volunteer run. These wonderful volunteers. I was in London at Western doing my studies. So I would come home on the weekend. These volunteers would open up the archives for me, bring me in, help me answer any research questions that I had. And that's where I discovered the archives. That's where I discovered the society. And so from there, after I graduated and moved back home with mom and dad, I said, okay, I'm not working in my field, but I'd like to give back and support my community in some way. And this Newmarket Historical Society was so helpful to me. So I felt like it was like a really nice match, right? Putting your studies into work and giving back to your community. So I started volunteering. They had me join the board of directors. And as you said, I'm the president today. I haven't left. I've met amazing friends, amazing intergenerational relationships, because I'm one of the younger members of the society. And we've tackled a lot of projects over the last 10 plus years that I've been involved.
So that's incredible that, it's like the school thesis project that you got to do. Then it's the historical society, but really it's the people within the society and how good they were and how they treated you that kind of opened their doors up for you, that made you more interested in it, right? It could have been a couple of volunteers that were all, rude and crummy and
exactly.
like, here, take this thing, but you could feel the passion through the people, which I guess that helps like make you want to be a part of something more.
Absolutely. And every person who is there is choosing to give their time because they believe and understand how critical it is to preserve and share this history so that 100 years from now, people can say, okay, here's what Newmarket was like in 2025 or in 1925, right? So we're all there for that common cause, and knowing where we come from and understanding our roots, whether it's Newmarket or your ancestry and your own background, I think is really interesting and really important.
Yeah, I think you touched on it there. Like, why would you say the history is important, right? Like, why does it matter? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Why does history matter? We're nothing without it. Think about anything in your life. When you are reflecting on your personal history, right? And I had a prof in university who said, imagine a giant bookshelf. Lots of books stacked in a row, but sometimes you pull out a book and you read through and the answer's not there of what you're looking for. Sometimes you go through the bookshelf and there's like a gap and there's something that's missing. When we all compile our history and preserve it and record it and research and write new things, we're filling in these gaps in the bookshelf, we're answering new questions, and we're leaving really important records, again, for that future generation to understand what the world was like, to hopefully take lessons learned from it when we reflect on the past to make really smart changes to be more successful in the future. So I think it's really, really critical. And I also think it's just fascinating. We have stuff in our archives and research that we've done that you can't even believe when you're walking down Main Street, that this is the same street where, in 1914, soldiers were marching and going off to fight in a war. And I'm popping down to Metropolis to get my little coffee or something, right?
Yeah, It's so true. And I always loved, like, both my dad's family, the Dokes, they grew up in Newmarket too, right? Like their parents
Streets named after you, yeah.
And then on my mom's side, the McInneses, same thing. They grew up there too. And like, even growing up, like kind of those two different stories of, my dad always talking about Newmarket back in the day. Then growing up there, his dad was the mayor of Newmarket for a small period of time, and there's like Drew Doak Park, and you like feel this pride because of that history. And then on my mom's side, the McInneses, they live on Queen Street, and the story is like her dad went off to war.
Wow.
And then when they came back, they were essentially given this land on Queen Street so they could build a house when they came back. And now there's like houses in between, but there was all these original houses from when the people came home from the war too. And it's just like those little stories too. Look, I got the goosebumps talking about it.
I love that. I love that. We had a few years ago, we did an exhibit. It was our first World War interactive trench exhibit. Very long story short, we built a replica trench because we felt it was really critical that people could experience, something like what had happened 100 years later. And integrated throughout the exhibit was all this different history, in particular of Newmarket in the First World War. But we had one board that had a list of all Newmarket soldiers who had gone off and fought in the war. And something that gives me chills when I still think about that particular board was the kids who would come in and who would look around and say, like, wait, that's the name of my school. Wait, that's the street that so-and-so lives on. Wait, that's the house over there. And being able to connect and say, like, wow, there's a reason why all these places and buildings are named after these people. They came before us. They're part of that history that gives us the Newmarket that we're in today. It's just like you say, goosebumps.
Yeah. And that's why, putting the history puzzle pieces like kind of together. So then it's easier for the new people to be able to connect the through line of it all, right? Where,
absolutely,
they're seeing this from a war exhibit, and then, like you said, it's the name of a street or a building or a school or whatever that may be. So let's talk about that big project of the archives.
Yes.
And like, what did that entail? Ooh. And I know it was a big thing, and it ended up being even bigger than what you anticipated. So just touch on that and educate me.
Sure. So first important distinction and, shout out, I would say, to the town of Newmarket. The Newmarket Historical Society, as you said, we're volunteer run. We're a registered charity. Everything we do is because of the power of volunteers, with the caveat that our partnership with the town of Newmarket is so critical to us. We have an archival room that's housed within the museum. The museum is a town owned building. And those archival records have kind of been collected through donations from the town. For example, we have original minute books where the very first town meetings took place that we've collected and saved and are preserved there. And just, again, to have that space and that collaborative partnership with the town, I can't thank them enough. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. That said, our archives were in a state of needing some TLC and some support. You can imagine, we have things going back to the 1800s in there. The material deteriorates over time. That's just what happens. So in order to preserve everything that was so critical in there, we embarked on this massive archives restoration project. First phase for us was fundraising. We raised just under $60,000, which for an organization of our size, again, was huge. Thanks to sponsors as well as our society members who made donations and helped make that possible. Through that funding, it allowed us to bring on an archivist who worked with us for a year. It's our first and only staff member that the Newmarket Historical Society has ever had. And the town was really supportive in helping us with the partnership there and bringing her on board. And she led our team of volunteers through this restoration project where we cataloged everything that's in the collection. And anyone who actually knows an archive, your catalog is always ongoing because you're always intaking new items into the collection. But what we had thought was a collection of about 2,000 archival records, we're now up to over 6,000 in the collection, right? So wow. Huge discoveries of historical treasures, which is really amazing. And then through that cataloging process, we went through really extensive preservation efforts. So again, coming back to the quality of the materials and the types of records that are in there, they need to be in the right storage, whether it's envelopes or boxes to protect from the elements. If there's any kind of water damage or mold, there's proper archival techniques to make sure that that is removed so that what we're storing is not going to continue to deteriorate over time. And then the final piece of that is our digitization. And this is really where we're in now, which is phase 2 of this project. And that's creating very high quality archival digital records of every 6,000, like I said, 6,000 plus of every item that's in our collection so that no matter what happens to the record itself, there's a digital footprint of what that archival piece is. And my favorite part is so that people can actually access our archives, right? So now through our website and through this work that our volunteers and our archivists have done, you can actually go to the Newmarket Historical Society website, click on archives, access the archives, and start searching and see all these amazing pieces of Newmarket's history that are in our collections.
That's amazing. That must have been exciting for you. You know, you like history and all this, and now you get to go through the process of like actually restoring all these history pieces and discovering all these new ones at the same time. Like
the day we pushed publish was such a joyous day. I mean, our volunteers are putting in hundreds and hundreds of hours a year on this project and many, many other things. But for us, you know, if you think back to what our mission is, it's preserving, right? So we're doing that with the Archives Project, but it's connecting people to the history of Newmarket. So whether it's a program that we're doing or making this information available to the public, we're now achieving our mission. Anyone from anywhere, Newmarket and beyond, whether you live here or you've moved away or you're just interested, can now go in. You can search. You can see everything that we have. You can conduct your own research. So coming back to that idea of the bookshelf and the empty research pieces that we always need to fill, people now have the tools to do that, which I'm really, really proud of. And when I think back to me as that student in university, oh my gosh, I wish this tool existed. But I guess I wouldn't have made the connections that I had if it didn't. So
it not existing probably has a big influence of it existing because you're a part of it now too.
Exactly.
What's like article or piece number 1? Like what's the oldest one?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. We have, I think, something from 1805. Maybe even a little earlier than that, but I'm going to get the historical term wrong. And my director of archives is going to be really mad at me. But they had these like land grants, and it was basically the deed to different plots of land. So we have articles going back that far. Wow. The minute books, like I said, are really incredible treasure that are in there and so critical to understanding Newmarket's history. There's also just like really amazing everyday stuff, journals, scrapbooks, photos of families, where again, you look and you see, oh, I know where this is. You know, this is Davis Drive. And like, that's what it looked like. That's a family having a picnic on Davis Drive. What? How is that? You know, so lots of very old items, but also just items that I think people would really connect to, because if you know Newmarket, you see something and you are drawing the parallels of what it's like today versus back then.
Love it. What's some like maybe fun old Newmarket history story thing, like something on Main Street or something unique or cool, that's something that, that just comes top of mind? Obviously, that there's a huge range of them, but what comes to mind? What comes to mind?
Well, maybe not everyone would say it's fun, but my degrees are in World War II history, World War I history. So I always go to the war stuff. To this day, the most impactful thing for me is the artifacts that we have from Thomas Jaffrey Robertson. He was a Newmarket resident. His family was super engaged in the community, and he went off and fought in the First World War, and he was a casualty in the First World War. And we have, the museum has his uniform and some of his personal artifacts, and then in the archives, we have his father's journals, where he writes about his son going to war. And then there is a page in the journal, 2 pages actually, where he's drawn these black lines around the outlines of the pages. And that's the day that he found out that his son was killed in the war. Jeez. And he actually died a week later of a broken heart, the doctor said. And so goodness. That was, just an incredible, moving, powerful, reflective item for me that has always stood out. And I actually was really privileged that I got to go to Thomas Jaffrey Robertson's grave over in Europe when I was doing historical battlefield tour as part of my master's degree. And I had done all the research again in the archives with the help from the Newmarket Historical Society. And the town of Newmarket gave me a plaque on behalf of the town to bring to his grave. I'm really trying not to cry right now because it actually is
it's incredible.
Incredible. And we don't know if anyone from the family ever went over there. Obviously, soldiers of the First World War, very, very few bodies were repatriated. And so I got to go and bring a piece of home to him, which was just like incredibly humbling.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an incredible story.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, it's not a fun story.
Not fun, but incredible.
And the Robertson family house is off of Main Street, right? So you can see it when you're driving by, which is, again, that's an everyday Newmarket person who chose to volunteer for the right reasons for his country and to go, and whose life was sacrificed, but his memory is not lost.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you know like how many soldiers from Newmarket went to?
We have some amazing historical publications. We call them occasional papers, and that our researchers and volunteers have put together over the years. We have one that's Newmarket's First World War Dead, which talks about every soldier that we know who is from Newmarket, a little bit about where they were from, and then what happened to them in the war. Off the top of my head, I don't know the numbers, but I can look that up for you and get you that information. And certainly in that paper, that information is available.
Yeah, that's such a crazy piece of history. It's like kids. Yes. Younger than me. He was younger than me. Yeah. That's wild. So what kind of things can people, if they want to learn more about it, like events, things that they can go to, like how can people get in touch with the history of Newmarket and the Newmarket Historical Society? Like what kind of things you got going on?
For sure. So we've talked a lot about our archives project, but that's just one of many. We have a great website that has all our resources available, Newmarket Historical Society.ca. NewmarketHistoricalSociety.ca. And on there, you can learn more about the Archives project. You can access that Archives catalog. So again, if you're interested, if you want to see the images or start conducting your research, that's your first point of reference. I mentioned our occasional papers. You can see the list on there of every research paper that we have. Those are available for sale. We also have copies that we give to the library. So if people are not able to purchase, but they'd like to read and access those materials, they can do so from the library as well. And then throughout the course of the year, we also host the third Wednesday of every month, free to the public, a historical speaker series. It's always on a topic that somehow connects back to the history of Newmarket. We have incredible speakers coming up. Our next one is in September. And again, third Wednesday of the month, all are welcome. And the last piece is you can become a member. So when you sign up for your membership with the Historical Society, it's a very nominal fee. It gives you access to our monthly historical newsletter that is members only. It goes out by email. If you love Newmarket history, this is a curated 10-page digital newsletter that has all kinds of different historical stories, tidbits, and facts, which is very, very cool. Again, all put together by volunteers. And then you also have access to 2 members-only events throughout the year as well.
Nice. We need more people to get involved. So
we would love to have you. All are welcome of all ages. Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's go with a couple rapid fire ones.
Ooh, okay.
You. Okay. And you can't name anyone that you already named.
Uh-oh.
So, most fascinating person from Newmarket's history.
Alive or dead?
Doesn't matter. Maybe both.
Most fascinating. Wow. Well, I would have to say beloved, respected, honored former Mayor Tom Taylor, father of our current Mayor John Taylor. But the Taylor family and their contribution to Newmarket as a whole and the Newmarket that we experience today has been profound. And I don't say that lightly. And Tom's leadership when he was a council member and up to his time as mayor and all of his time afterward with his many volunteer commitments and things that he does, got to go to him. He's my top. And we've been really fortunate. He's a long-standing member, he and Kate both, of the Historical Society. And he's been sharing some of his personal history with us so that we have that in our archives and in our collection as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a really good pick, Tel. And that, honestly, if you think of the impact of that family on Newmarket, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And think of like the transformation of Newmarket and kind of both their histories put together, That's okay. Favorite local building or landmark in Newmarket?
Ooh, what a great question. Again, kind of weird, kind of morbid, but it's got to be the Cenotaph for me on Darcy Street. I think it's so incredible to go and to reflect and to pay tribute to the people who came before us and these people from Newmarket who allowed us to have the freedoms and privileges that we have today. Quiet, tranquil, beautiful space. Encourage anyone to go in and check it out. And you can see all the different bricks and the monuments there that are tribute to Newmarket's fallen soldiers.
Yes. Yeah. I went and checked that out. Maybe last Remembrance Day, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was my aunt, Sue, that was like, you need to go down there and read your grandpa's name. One thing you wish every Newmarket resident knew.
One thing I wish every Newmarket resident knew is we don't put the plaques on your historic home. We support the Heritage Newmarket Committee with any research and support that they need to get that historical designation. But that is not us. That's done exclusively by the town of Newmarket and through their Heritage Council. So as much as we would love to help you with your historic plaque, you have to ask them first.
That's a good PSA right there. Okay. We'll put all like the information in the show notes here for where people can find it out. But if you have any final words from you that you want to give to the listeners or viewers, this is your spot for it.
Oh man, final words. That's tough. Well, I think history is so cool And it doesn't matter what topic you're interested in, how old you are, whether you've lived in Newmarket your whole life or you're brand new here, there is something that you can learn through our Historical Society information. And I encourage you to reach out to us again, whether it's coming to a meeting, getting to know our members, doing your own research. We're here as a resource for you. We're so proud and honored to do this work on behalf of Newmarket, and we love to get to know all of our neighbors in the community. So reach out to us anytime. We're happy to help.
I love it. Go learn your history. So then as you go, create your own history as you get going.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.